Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Kollin at crackedfemalecode.com. Okay, so one thing that I noticed, I just happen to be on YouTube right now, just kind of browsing around, and I found this guy. He's a dating coach, and he has a phenomenal, this is a different guy. He has over 200,000 subscribers. And I was really surprised because the guy is, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure how to say it without being rude. I'm not trying to be rude, and I'm not the kind of guy that wants to bring someone down, so I'm not going to mention his name. But I'm going to say it this way. I'm going to kind of shift this. You guys are being sold a lot of crapola. There's a lot of stuff that's being taught out there that, I got it. Hold on. Okay, it's being taught in the wrong way, and you're going to understand it in the wrong way, but you believe it because it's the way that you are neurologically wired. So to your neurology, to your system, it makes logical sense, but it doesn't work. Now I'm going to explain a couple reasons why you guys fall for this stuff, okay? And so there's two systems. There's the logical left brain system, and then there's the internal female system, which turns women on. You have a right brain just like she does. You just don't use it because, well, I use my logical brain and that's what I'm used to, and that's it. But you get your social power from your right brain. Your right brain is the social brain. It is the relationship brain. It's the brain you're supposed to be in when you're with your friends, your family, your wife, your girlfriend, and when you're out in social situations, as in parties, clubs, going out to dinner. But most men stay in their logical brain, i.e. take a look at Neil Strauss here. He's a very logical dude. When a woman looks at his eyes and my eyes, she can tell the difference. Mine are more open, they're more expansive. See how he's kind of holding his face almost in a circle? Mine is more open and relaxed. Women can see this in you. When you open up to your right brain, you'll start to see it too, and you'll be like, holy shit, this dude is tight, this guy's relaxed. Women are always going to go for the guy who's in the right brain, which is when you're relaxed. Right here, I'm even more so. I'm just really, my muscles are relaxed, my facial muscles, my eyes, everything is relaxed, okay? That's what women go for. Now, the external way of teaching you how to do that, which is the linear logical male way, is to say what you need to do is you need to relax your eyes and relax your face, and what you need to do is relax your gut, etc. Well, the internal way is the way that will actually show you how to do it in the right way and the natural way that will work, is to say drop your awareness inside and drop it all the way down. See, if you're trying to relax externally using the left brain, it makes you more uptight. One thing I want to notice, if you notice me with a picture next to Neil Strauss, I was actually kind of tighter than normal. And then you look at the next picture, like, boom, that guy's relaxed right there. When you get around other people that are in their logical system, you unconsciously start to tighten up like they are, because what you're doing is you're shifting over to your left brain. This is, and that's what Neil did to me. This is the same thing that happened to women when they're around linear logical men. It pulls them over to their left brain. It is an unconscious rapport system that we have in our brain. And so what happens is if you pull her over to her left brain, you just disconnected her from her mating system, and thus you just turned her off. So a lot of guys, Adam was one of them, and I'll get a couple of his videos and I'll start uploading them here. Adam was one of those guys who watched me go out in public, and women will literally walk up to me. They will literally come from across the room, and Adam's like, no, holy shit, see that girl? I'm like, yeah, I see her. They'll come all the way over across the room to talk to me. He's like, how do you do that? I'm like, okay, here's my point. It seems like magic. It really isn't. It's learning how to shift over to your right brain, which is what my course, Crack the Female Code, is all about. And that's why it's so expensive, because it takes me hours and hours and hours of working with you, conditioning you, using my energy to guide your energy. Now, I know right there that sounds kind of weird, huh? Yep, the first time I heard someone say that to me, I was like, oh, okay. But when it worked, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So let's go back to why you trust and believe guys that are actually leading you down the wrong path, the logical linear path. Is because it's familiar to you. If you've ever heard of something called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and rapport skills, people who are like you tend to like. You tend to feel comfortable around you because they look like you, they walk like you, they sound like you, they talk like you, and there's a bunch of unconscious systems they use, such as the predicate system. I'm going to go really quick because this isn't about this, but the predicate system is an unconscious series of languages that we use. There's the visual language, the auditory language, the kinesthetic language, and the auditory digital language. That's the thinking brain. So visual people will use visual words like I see what you mean. Look at me. Look at what I'm showing you. So look, see, show, picture. Those are all visual predicates. If you speak their language, they will suddenly look at you and they'll light up and go, oh, it's like an unconscious thing. Oh, you're just like me. And they'll open their door and now communication begins to flow. That's why gaining rapport with someone is so important, because if you don't have rapport with someone, their unconscious door is closed. They're not really listening. They don't really trust you. They don't really feel clarity, and because you won't have clarity until you gain rapport. So then the next one's the auditory system. They use words like, I'm going to point to my ear. Do you hear what I'm saying? Hear and say are auditory predicates. Tell me. Talk to me. That sounds right. That rings a bell. Those are all auditory phrases. So people that are auditory, that are listening right now, they'll light up and be like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. This guy really liked the way he talks. Hear, saying, talk. Those are auditory predicates. Now, there's a whole list of them. The kinesthetic people are the ones who are using their emotions and feelings, technically their physical body. They use things like, I get that concept. It's like they're physically grabbing it. So they'll use things like, I get, as in grabbing, I get that concept. I can grab a hold of that, or I can get a hold of what you're saying. I feel you. They use words like touch, feel, get, grab, warm, smooth, soft. They talk in this language because they understand it. And if you match their language, matching and mirroring is gaining rapport. If you haven't learned the predicate system, you literally don't know shit about understanding women, approaching women, talking. That is like the basic core of all the cores. If you do not know the predicate system, everything you have been taught has been a load of shit. It means those people don't know what they're talking about. When people take my courses, it literally transforms their life. And this is the difference between taking those courses. Well, this guy, he seems familiar. There's something about him. It makes logical sense to me, which means it won't work with a woman. If it makes logical sense, it means it's not going to work when it comes to romance, love, and seduction. Because it's not a logical experience. It's an emotional experience for a woman. Look how soft she looks here. Look how comfortable she is. You like that feeling, don't you? You look at her eyes like, oh, you just want to hug her. Well, guess what? She wants the same feeling from you. And this is when someone's open to the right brain. It's more open. It's more expansive. Well, remember Neil Strauss's view is more focused. That's the difference. Focus is good for hunting, but it's not good for getting laid. Focus is good for science, but it's not good for making your wife happy. You have to learn how to do the complete opposite. And right now you're probably going, I don't really quite understand what you're saying. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Because until you come in and learn how to do this and then practice it and get good at it, then you're like, holy shit, you're going to say, holy shit, there's literally two completely different worlds walking around on the planet together, not even knowing it. I'm like, yeah. And this is why we argue and fight and bitch and moan and complain with each other. There's a biblical phrase that says, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. That's a mistranslation. It is a false teaching. I'm not saying it's some mean, evil thing, but the translation from the original language is wrong. What it really should say is, others do unto you as they want you to do unto them. So if someone comes up and hugs you, that means they're a kinesthetic person. They like to be hugged. They're physical. If someone doesn't hug you, that means they like some space and distance. So if you match them, you'll gain rapport with them, and then they're going to want to get closer to you. Okay, so the fourth predicate system is the auditory digital system. The word auditory, and especially the word digital, is an auditory digital word. It's when you're in your thinking brain. So they use words like think, thinking, let me think about it, that makes sense, that's logical, digital, pretty much any kind of computer lingo word. That's when you're in your auditory digital language. The problem is, and also, by the way, that's your logic. That's where your logical system is processed. The problem is that completely disconnects her from her mating system. But if she's in that system when you first meet her, you're going to want to match and mirror those words. In other words, if she says, let me think about it, you say, okay, well, go ahead and think about it. You just repeat what they say. And then you can gain rapport with them. From there, once you gain rapport, you can lead them where you want them to go. Now here's the deal, a lot of guys are like, is this like professional manipulation? No, it's the opposite. When you open your door and she opens your door, now she can see you and feel you for who you actually are. Because it adds clarity to communication, not hiding, not confusion. It opens the door to seeing someone and hearing someone for who they actually are. Now you can understand them and who they are. So, let's go back to the word transformation. So the reason why, so that guy in that video, I went to his website and he has a blog article on how to use your voice and blah, 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 blah. He goes, what you need to do is here, let me actually go read it. All right, here it is. So here's what he says. An excellent way to develop, well, first it says, develop a powerful voice for men. And here's the funny thing about it, the way he does it, because I'm on his YouTube channel listening, like he's talking the way a man would talk. Like he's not doing what he's telling you to do in this blog. So he says an excellent way, and the funny thing is, like, a lot of guys teach seduction courses and techniques that are actually how you trigger a male's mating system. You don't want to do that. You want to understand how to trigger the female's mating system. And here's the thing that throws you off. You're going to follow this guy because, well, it makes sense to me. That's how I'm turned on. That's the way I talk. That's the way I sound. See, you're going to unconsciously have rapport with this guy because he talks like you. He sounds like you. He holds his head like you, which means you're going to gain rapport with a bunch of men, not women. See, this is the difference. You're going to go, okay, the reason why I know this, I went to a pickup artist course. He's one of the people that was in the book, The Game, Neil Strauss's book. And he was a very famous guy about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And by the way, it wasn't Mystery. It was one of the other guys. And everyone recommended this guy. So I took his course and I'm like I wanted to understand, like, well, why do these guys pay so much for these courses? And why do they get so much traffic and so much, I couldn't figure it out. So I went in there and everything was logic. It was all step 1, step 2. By the way, the male language is step 1, step 2, step 3. It's like a football field. You got 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yards. And the language is really simple. It's going up and down a line. First, I'm going to do this. Second, I'm going to do that. Third, then later, after, before, but before that, then later, after that, then we're going to do this. That literally is the male language. So everything they're doing, they're putting into steps, which means it's going to put you in your logical brain. I will not do that to you. We need to get you open to your right brain. That will unconsciously, automatically, and naturally attract women to you. And in order for a woman to want to make love to you, she has to go down this process that is the opposite of you. First, number 1 is her forehead. Just imagine a stick figure, number 1, right there on her forehead. She has to connect with you. Forehead, wait, I think I got an image, hold on. Okay, yes, I pulled this out of my manual, my training manual for the course Cracked Female Code. Okay, so number 1, women have to connect with you mentally forehead to forehead. So if you look on the right side, that's pink, that's the woman. She has to connect from her number 1 over to your number 3. So yours should be number 1, okay? I mean, it's not that it should. You're neurologically wired for your groin sex to be number 1, and then you open up to your heart, okay? So when men have an orgasm, there's a chemical called oxytocin. There's another one I'm forgetting right now. When you have an orgasm, that chemical is released into your bloodstream, which then reaches all your muscles in your entire body. It relaxes you. So for men, oxytocin acts as a relaxant. For women, it acts as a stimulant like a caffeine high. So when you connect forehead to forehead first, this chemical oxytocin is released into her bloodstream. See, here's the deal. She wants to get that same feeling that you get, that you have after sex, but she can't do it going groin to groin. All right. So this is a core piece of my course. You know how after you have an orgasm, you just feel good. I mean, all the worries go out the window. If only for an hour, but they still do. You're just like, oh, and you fall asleep, and it's like, here's the word, you feel completely content. Just imagine the feelings, the relaxation that courses through your entire body after you have an orgasm. That's exactly what she wants too, but she cannot get it going from groin to groin first. She's not neurologically wired for that chemical and that emotional feeling to course through her body like it does you after having sex. Most men think, well, I'm going to pay for shit. I'm going to buy her things, pay for dinner, roses, flower, diamond rings, and cars in order to make her like me. This does not give her this same feeling. So she might be like, okay, it's kind of like in a woman's world, when you buy her things, this is external, by the way, which disconnects her from her mating system. It's more like not a peace treaty. It's more like kind of like when the American Indians and the cowboys would come together, they'd meet on the field in peace, and they would trade like their daggers or their swords, or, they'd say, this is from my tribe, I offer this as a peace offering, I offer this as a symbol of our commitment to follow through with this agreement. In other words, it's more like almost like a business logical contractual thing. Like, okay, well, he's going to pay for dinner, we're going to do this thing, but here's the thing, it does not make her feel any romance or love or connection to you at all. Now here's the deal. When you connect groin to groin first, number one, she can't get that emotional feeling. Number two, it's like putting a piece of a metal rod or lead steel thing across your batteries poles in your car, and what it's going to do is it's going to build up a lot of frustration, it's going to build up a lot of anger, and eventually it's literally going to blow up the frickin' battery. That's why relationships go to shit. It literally is the equivalent of being married to a woman for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years and never having an orgasm. You go to bed with her, you get under the covers, and then you fall asleep and you never have sex, and she's totally content. And that's the thing that men don't understand. Like, well, why are women so pissed off? Because she can see you that after you have sex, you're completely content. You got your satisfaction, and she's pissed because she didn't get hers. If you don't believe me, start listening to women when they say, well, sex alone is meaningless. They literally say this in the movies. I've heard women say it in person. I've had a girlfriend say it to me a long time ago. I've heard this we had a psychology class where one of my favorite professors, Barbara Pafeo, she taught this, and she goes, yeah, and all the women in the room said, yeah, it's true. Like, sex alone, guys, is completely meaningless. And they're like, it's like a mini orgasm. It's nice, but it doesn't get the job done. So now your external brain goes, oh, okay, so I need to learn better sexual techniques. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm literally saying a physical sexual orgasm alone will not get the job done. She has to have an emotionally fulfilling experience, because okay, watch this. Women love this word, this phrase. I'm telling you, just say it to women. Just say it. I heard this crazy guy's podcast on YouTube. He was talking some crazy stuff about mentally stimulating and emotionally fulfilling experiences, with men through communication, and then throw in the phrase with right brain communication. I promise you, pay attention, because it's going to be subtle, because women are subtle. She's going to kind of hesitate. She might even hold her breath, and she'll kind of stop. She'll look at you for the first time, and you'll notice, like, whoa, she's really looking at me. Whereas before, she was kind of in the back of her head thinking about shit. Gotta do my hair, gotta do the laundry, gotta take out the garbage. But you're talking blah, 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 blah. She's just looking in your direction. She's not really looking at you, but you say those words and phrases I gave you. Watch how her pupils dilate, and watch how she kind of stops and focuses. Like, she stops, not just verbally, but she stops inside. Everything is about emotionally stimulating or emotionally fulfilling communication and emotionally fulfilling and meaningful connections. Everything in the world. That is everything in the world to women. This is why she married you. This is why she got into a relationship with you, because she's hoping to God. You think I'm joking? Women pray to God for this. Bring that up to her. Yeah, he said this crazy thing that women actually pray for that. And I guarantee you, she's going to look at you. She goes, oh, we do, because men don't do it. All right, let's get back to the transformation. So here's the deal. Your biggest challenge is you trust your logic so much that you won't even consider any other possibility. So in your brain, if I read a book that's not Mr. Logical Step, by the way, this image is a logical image. That's why I threw it up, because I know it's going to catch your attention. This is the male form of doing things. It's got to be in a diagram. It's got to have arrows. It's got to have numbers. Logic. Technologica. Your brain likes it. It matches you, and so you assume, well, it's going to work. Well, not with women. So most relationships are draining and exhausting, frustrating and enraging. That's because you connect groin to groin. It's like putting a metal rod across the battery poles in a car, the poles on a battery in a car. It's going to build and build and build and build up the frustration. It's going to finally fucking blow, okay? That's what's happening in relationships. Now, if you go now look how the arrow at the top of the male goes up and over and then down into her head and then goes down into her heart, number 2, down to 3, and now it comes back up and it connects with you. So once you connect with mentally and emotionally through the hidden language, she'll then connect with you sexually, and then that opens you up emotionally. Now you're both emotionally content, and that has always been the goal. And now you've completed the circuit. The energy now flows from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. It goes around in a circle, and now the energy is flowing, and here's what it does. It literally adds flow and comfort to the relationship. It adds understanding and clarity. All of a sudden, you actually understand women. All of a sudden, she knows that you understand her. When you're in this system, it will make her very, very happy. She will smile. She will treat you better. She'll cook. She'll clean. She'll do things for you that you won't even have to ask anymore. She'll just do it because she's fucking happy. A fucking car, a Ferrari, a Porsche will not fucking do this. A piece of metal, a piece of stone in a fucking metal circle putting on her finger will not do this. Now let's get back to the whole transformation thing. So the difference between my course and these other courses is when you take these other courses, they make logical sense. So you agree with it. And here's the thing, you have rapport with it. Because it's just like you. It's like that diagram I was showing you. But you don't want to fuck a diagram, do you? No, you want to fuck her. Even the body language stuff. Women use a hidden right brain form of body language that men completely miss. Because the left brain, don't think of it as a processor. It is a processor. The right brain is also a processor. It's more like the Apple computer's processor. The left brain is like the logical linear IBM processor. The left brain, call it a radar system. It cannot pick up on right brain body language, tonality, the way she talks, etc. It goes right over your fucking head. This is why women say all the time, like, God, she'll say, I threw myself at that guy. I practically got naked in front of him. He didn't get any of the hints. Because the left brain is completely blind. You have eyes, yet you cannot see. You have ears, yet you cannot hear. My course will transform you. When you pop open to the right brain, bam, all of a sudden, and this is what I do. When you do it, I'll see it. I'm like, okay, it's time. I say, hey, let's go to the coffee shop. Hey, let's go to the grocery. Let's get something, right? Or let's go to the restaurant, get some food. Let's take a break. I'm doing it because you're wide open. And this is what happened. We sit down at a table at a coffee shop or restaurant or wherever, and every client looks around, and they're looking at all these guys, and eventually, and they're stunned. They are absolutely stunned. And they're like, dude, look at that guy. He's scaring that girl. He's leaning over her. Oh, Mike, you got to do something about it. I'm like, well, that's what you do. I don't do that. And then, holy shit, I've done that my whole life. I'm like, yeah, you thought that was a way to talk to her, to get attraction. You're scaring the crap out of her. you will literally see the right brain body language. You're going to hear the difference in communication between men and women. And all of a sudden, a brand new world will open wide open to you. So you can take courses that make logical sense to you, or you can take a course that's going to challenge you. It will scare you, it will intimidate you, it will confuse you until you see how the pieces are put together. It will cause you irritation. I'm going to tell you right now. It is not your normal, natural way of processing information or thinking or talking or using body language. It is a foreign concept. It's almost like learning a new language because it actually is a new language. This course will transform you. You will look at the world in a completely different light. When Adam flew back to the UK, everything looked different. He even told me, he goes, dude, the buildings look different. He goes, my own office, my own business looks different. He goes, Mike, it's like women are talking different now. I'm like, no, they're not talking different. They've always talked like that. You're just finally hearing it. You know, there's a video of Adam. He breaks a lot of the stuff down. So I'm going to try to find that video. I've got a couple videos that I have right now, but there's another video. If I can find it, I'm going to upload it for you. In fact, I might just upload a bunch of his videos. When I say my course is going to transform you, it's literally going to transform you. Let me give you a couple more examples. That's me on the right, by the way. So, when during our NLP trainers training, I think it was during the Master Practitioner training, is one thing they teach is like, look, if you want people to go into a certain emotional state, you yourself have to go into that emotional state. Because, so let's say someone comes to you and they're insecure and they don't feel confident, and what they want is they want to feel confident. They want to be confident. So you can't, you yourself, let's say they're coming and they want to feel excited. They want to feel motivated. You can't be like, okay, feel motivated now. Be confident. No, you can't do that. You've got to get yourself into a confident state, a motivated, inspired state. What happens is your energy, your emotions guide them in that direction. So here's what happens. If you're trying to teach someone a technique or a way of doing something, but you yourself are not in that state, they unconsciously take on whatever state that you are in. So if I teach you this in a logical way, guess what? You're going to learn it in a logical way. And guess what? That will not work, because now you're going to repeat it out in the real world in a logical way. And you're like, Mike, this doesn't work. Yeah, I know, because you learned it in the logical way, and now you're doing it and repeating it and putting it out in the logical way. That does not work. This is what these dating coaches do all the time. Now, this guy, in my opinion, is a very insecure dude. So I'm like, why does this guy have over 200,000 subscribers? Like, what the fuck? Because all of those guys are intellectual, they're logical. He's a logical dude, and he's an insecure guy just like all of them. So they're gaining rapport with this guy. So here's the real challenge: results. I'm all about results. Does it work? So Adam, good example. Adam flew out all the way from the UK, from London. And in the first couple of days, he kept telling me how he took Mystery's course, he took this course and Tony Robbins' course, and blah, blah. And he said, they're the best in the world. They're the best in the world. And how he's been taking these courses and buying their books and home study courses for 10 years. Now, do you see the folly here? His blind mistake. You have eyes yet you cannot see. You have ears you cannot hear. Let me tell you one of the biggest mistakes most men make, and I mean over 80%. You guys lie to yourself. So if you take my course, I'm going to call you on your bullshit. For example, he's telling me how he spent tens of thousands of dollars paying for all these expensive courses in the United States, and how he's traveled all over the world to study with the best of the best of the best, which he did. And he kept telling me how they were the best in the world, the best in the world. I'm like, okay, so I got to ask you a question. What was your purpose for taking all those courses? He's like, well, I wanted to date. He goes, I haven't dated in, I think he said 8 years or 10 years or some shit like that. I'm like, okay. I go, so you took the courses because you wanted to? He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm Jewish and my family and my mother and father are getting really pissed off. He goes, because I think at the time he was 34 years old. He goes, normally Jewish people get married in their mid-20s or so. He goes, I'm way past the date. My family's looking at me like, what's wrong with you? You're pissing mom and dad off. They want grandchildren. He goes, so I kind of got a lot of pressure on me. I'm like, okay, so you took it because you wanted to date around, have sex and stuff. He goes, yeah. He goes, but ultimately I really do want to find the right partner. I was like, well, that's admirable. That's respectful. I like that. So we continued on with the course, and I was teaching him stuff, and then he would blurt out, like at lunch or maybe in the middle of a teaching, say, oh man, I took so-and-so's course, it's the best in the world, best in the world. And I was like, oh really? I go, so what was your purpose for taking that? He goes, well, I told you, I want to, I've got pressure from my family. I'm Jewish and I want to get married, but I want to date around first and, have sex, Mike. I'll be honest with you. I'm like, okay. He goes, but eventually I want to find the right girl. I was like, okay, that's cool. Awesome. So we'd go back to the training and then he'd bring up, those are the best courses in the world, best courses in the world. And I would play Captain Dumbass and I'd say, oh really? So what was your purpose for taking that course? He goes, well, Mike, I've told you 3 times now because I want to get married because blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. So here he is getting frustrated and really pissed off because I'm kind of looking at him like, you really can't see your folly here, dude? Now, I didn't say that yet. I wanted him to see it on his own. So he brought it up again, and I said, what? Now at this time, I said, what was your purpose for taking those courses? And he looks at me, he goes, I told you, I want to get married. And so then I screamed out, how well did that work for you? Now I said it as obnoxious as that, but I said it super loud. And this really stunned him. It really caught him off guard. He went, I never thought about that. How well did they work for me? There's a big word that I like in life, because especially in boxing, kickboxing, you better live by this sword or you will die by it. It's called results. Even though he was getting 0 results, he was still proclaiming to the world, after spending all this money, time, energy, and effort, that they were the best in the world. Now, Adam was not a dumb guy. He was a pretty smart guy and a successful guy. He owned a huge gym. He was a personal trainer, had all these personal trainers working for him and paying him. He had people coming into his gym in London, downtown London, kitty corner from London Square. He owned a freaking condo on that square, and when he looked out the window, you could see his gym. This was not a poor guy. This was a smart, intelligent, ambitious guy. He had eyes, but he could not see. He had ears, but he cannot hear. So what happened? Well, these courses were very logical. See, when I took that course from that guy, that was one of the world's top pickup artist courses, I was like, why are these guys so sold on this? I couldn't figure it out. Well, number one, their marketing was very left brain logical, which, by the way, is smart. You could go to Nike or Macy's or whatever, and they'll tell you, like, yeah, you can't market to men using the same words that you use marketing to women. You've got to use logic. You've got to give them details. You've got to give them diagrams and numbers and all left brain logical. It's bullshit, because it's bullshit. The left brain is the captain of bullshit. The right brain is about reality. It's the 5 senses: see, hear, feel, smell, and taste. Have you ever heard a woman say, just be in the present moment? Because that means you're in reality. The left brain blocks out 99.6% of all reality because they're looking under a microscope, which has no reality involved in that. In fact, it literally blocks out 99.6% of all reality because you want to test A versus B, A-B testing. In the real world, this doesn't work. Especially when it comes to seeing results. But Mike, it was logical. It made a lot of sense. But Adam, did it work? So Adam's frustrated and pissed off, and then he brought up again how they're the best courses in the world. And I said, Adam, if they're so fucking great, and I'm yelling, why in the fuck did you fly all the way from London all the way out here to the San Francisco Bay Area to take my course? He goes, well, what do you mean? And I scream, what purpose did you take, I said, for what purpose did you take all those courses? And he screams, because I told you I want to get married. And then I screamed back even louder, how well did that work for you? And he was stunned, and he looked at me, he goes, wow, not very well at all. There's a series of questions that I use that I learned from NLP that will bring you back to your own reality. You will transform when you take this course. I guarantee it. You will look at everything in a completely different light. So here I am taking this course many, many years ago. I think it was like 15, it was before. It had to be like 18 years ago. And I'm paying attention to the way the trainer's teaching. He's like, step 1, step 2, step 3. Well, logically speaking, if you think of it in this way, logically, look at the diagram, look at this, look at that. And all the guys were sold. They're just like, and they're like, And one of them was a doctor. He was 32 years old. He was an actual emergency room doctor. And what I did was I grabbed 5 of the guys' numbers. And here's the deal. When we went out to this club right here that I'm in, the Matrix, I was the only guy that got girls to sit in my laps to get phone numbers, etc., etc. In fact, the trainer walks up to me and goes, do you know those girls? I'm like, no, this is my first time here. I'd never been to the Matrix before until this guy brought us there. Then we went to the Bubble Lounge. Same thing. Even the trainer bombed. He couldn't get a fucking girl. At one point, there was a group of girls that would say, get the fuck out of here, you creep, because he invaded their little circle. When women are in a circle with their backs facing you, they want to be left the fuck alone. Now here's the deal. Not a single one of the people that took that course. There was about 25 of us. It wasn't a huge group. Maybe 18, 20, 25. I think it was more than 20. No one got any results. So I called a couple of these people. I was like, well, how's it going? Have you been practicing what he taught you? They're like, yeah, I can't pick up on a girl for the life of me. So then I called that doctor and I said, hey, what's going on? He said, honestly, because he's a doctor, he's trained to get results because that's a life and death situation. Just like when you're a kickboxer or boxer, I learned at a young age, like, you better learn how to do this the correct way and notice what works and what doesn't work. If it doesn't work, throw it the fuck out. Now, he was the first one who said, I think that course was a bunch of bullshit. He goes, it made a lot of sense. Logically, I understood it. He goes, but it doesn't work. That's the difference between taking a course that makes sense to the male brain versus a course like mine that doesn't make sense in the beginning, but after you get better and better at it, you start seeing how the pieces come together. So last piece. So on his website, he talks about how to develop an attractive voice, and a deep voice, etc. And he says an excellent way to develop a more commanding and authoritative voice is to talk slow and deep breaths and speak from your diaphragm as opposed to speaking from your throat. Most men tend to speak from the throat or directly from the mouth without utilizing the power of their diaphragm. Okay. And he talks about feeling tense or nervous, etc. By the way, when you learn how to be internal, it relaxes you. So you don't have to do any of this stuff about trying to relax and trying to do this. It becomes natural. So number one, when you listen to his videos, he's speaking from his throat. His throat is it's called speaking on the throat or singing on the throat. It means it's tight. Now, I was in choir my whole life, and we had to really, really work at this. But I got really good at it, but it was kind of like because this teacher was screaming at me, but didn't really know how to teach it. When in my 20s, I started learning about being emotionally grounded, it's kind of like the Buddhist monk stuff. They teach you how to be internal. By the way, Jesus said the same thing that the Buddha said. He says, look within. There's a technique that I teach that literally teaches you how to look within, and it drops you down. So now all the stress goes away, and you literally speak from your belly. Okay, but when you listen to him, if you're in your logical left brain, you're going and you're going to go out your forehead and go down and look at your belly from the outside. We don't do that. We teach you how to go inside your head, then drop down through your throat, down into your chest, down into your solar plexus, down into your belly. There's a series of techniques that I will actually teach you how to do this. I knew a guy that would tell people he can teach them how to speak with a more resonant voice, and he would talk like this. Now, I'm actually talking on my voice, and it sounds very fake, doesn't it? Now, the guy in the YouTube video that I'm talking about, he talks like this, and he's very analytical and logical, and he talks about talking from your diaphragm, and he's talking on his throat, and you can hear that, can't you? So when you open up, you talk naturally from your, it's called resonating your voice. But okay, the first guy, he said, what you got to do is you got to resonate your voice. That's not resonating your voice. When you resonate your voice, you're not trying. In fact, that's the whole point. If you're doing a technique, you're trying to do it, you won't be doing it. You just have to learn how to be internal and then let go. Here's why. When your awareness drops down, you unconsciously take her through that mental number 1, and then I'm pointing to my forehead, then drop down to a heart, I'm pointing to my chest, number 2, and then I'm dropping down to my groin, number 3. When you learn how to be internal unconsciously, it brings women through this cycle, and then she's naturally going to want to have sex with you. It's not just naturally, it's a powerful sexual turn on. It unconsciously takes her through her natural cycle. So now it's like, well, of course I'm going to have sex with them because I've gone through the step 1, step 2, step 3. But when you're up here and you're talking like this, like you're faking your resonant voice, it keeps her up there and she can't go through her natural steps. Okay, I'm going to say this on purpose. At least at this point, does this make logical sense to you, okay? When you take the course, I will teach you how to do this. Right now, I highly recommend that you buy my book, Crack the Female Code, at crackthefemalecode.com. Better yet, if you want to get a better deal, get all my books. Get the Girl, Keep the Girl, Crack the Female Code, Sex Signals, and an Introduction to the Internal Language. Alright guys, that's it. Go ahead and, if you like this video, go ahead and click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.